Hello, everyone, and welcome to the pro wrestling mecca of the world in Cleveland, Ohio. I am your dangerously dead, strikingly handsome, ever so smooth talking, amazing host Nick, and with me, as always, is nobody because this is PWP TV. This is a little side show to the main show, the Pro Wrestling Podcast, which is available on iTunes, Podcast X, Spreaker, Amazon Alexa, Spotify, YouTube, and iHeartRadio. So we have all these different ways to check us out. We got some things in the works. Not going to say too much, obviously, because, again, they're still in the works. But that's how you follow the show. For those of you who may not know what this is about, PWP TV is basically a 10-minute or so video once a week. And the whole emphasis of this show is basically every month has a different theme. Last month I deleted it on here. Of course, it was why companies failed. We took a look at WCW, ECW, Glow, all these different promotions, and my take on it and how I thought they did and things like that. Another thing to really consider is the fact that it's kind of guerrilla style. I have to do all these videos from my phone because my computer does not like my microphone on YouTube for some reason. It'll record when we do the podcast, but YouTube does not like my microphone. I don't know why. That's just the way it is. But anyway, so now that we have all of that out the way, this month the theme is feuds that are too sweet. Feuds that are too sweet. Some of my personal favorite feuds, and as you can tell by the title of this video, it is John Cena and CM Punk. Now, for those of you, a little backstory as we dive into the feud as a whole. Essentially, the main story going around was that Punk was unhappy. Sorry, because I got scratched my back. Punk was unhappy with WWE. He was unhappy with his pay, position, all that. You guys know the story. I don't have to run down anything. So Vince thought he could benefit from a John Cena feud. To kind of help that, it wasn't the huge, cherry on the sundae, so to speak, but a lot of people, myself included, thought it was a good idea. So, essentially, feud-wise, real life, CM Punk's contract was running up. And his last legally obligated date was Money in the Bank, which was in his hometown, Chicago, Illinois. And this match, of course, was the only 5-star match, not only, but it's one of the very few 5-star matches from Dave Meltzer, if anyone cares about that stuff. I personally don't. That's just me. But anyway, so they go to have a match with the stipulation being that if Punk wins, John Cena's fired. If Punk loses, everything's all hunky-dory because Punk was champion. At midnight, if he was going to win, he was going to leave WWE with their championship. So that's all backstory. Now, the match itself was really good. It deserved a 5-star rating. You go back on the WWE Network. You need to rewatch this match. It's so much fun. First off, John Cena, he's not immune to hostile crowds. Let's not forget about ECW One Night Stand 2006. Same thing. They wanted Cena's blood. And it was like that in Chicago. They saw John Cena and they saw the machine. They saw everything WWE. They looked at a guy like CM Punk. And it went so much more beyond him just being the hometown guy. It was more about the two things. It was about the underdog who couldn't get a shot no matter how hard he tried, but also the indie darlings that were on the rise. And because of this one match, and again, it was a fun match. You need to rewatch it. Atmosphere, the spots in the match itself were really good. My favorite part, personally, was when Punk actually does beat John Cena, thanks to John Laurinaitis, and he turns to Vince, and he starts hopping the guardrail, and he's halfway over the guardrail, and he goes, like, I'm out of here, bye, and it actually shows him running through the Allstate Arena in Chicago. Like, it was so well done by WWE. And, of course, it kind of spawned a bunch of different feuds, but the build-up for these two guys, the fact that they had two totally different backgrounds. John Cena and CM, they had amazing set of promos. Again, you guys have got to go back. whether if it's on the WWE Network or on YouTube, you need to rewatch these matches and promos as well. A lot of people, they give Cena some flack because some people don't think Cena's that good on the mic, and I've always disagreed with that. But his work here with CM Punk during their feud, to me, was the best part of John Cena's run altogether. It's very, it's not often. It's not often we see a guy like John Cena come around and go toe to toe with people, but also staying 100% on his own level. It just doesn't happen. And here he got to CM Punk's level on the microphone. And I don't care what anyone says, you cannot tell me otherwise. John Cena was just as good on the mic as Punk. And that's a very bold statement because a lot of people feel like Punk is one of the all-time greats on the mic. That's kind of up for debate. I don't know if it's very tough for me to put him in that class. Not saying he doesn't deserve it. He definitely does. Maybe that's an idea for a month. Best talkers on the mic. I don't know. But so it's very, very hard to get on the level of someone like Punk. And for John Cena to do it and to do it with ease was amazing. For example, one of their promos, Punk basically said, you know, you look down on anyone else who doesn't come from your kind of background. You basically, you couldn't hack it as a bodybuilder, so that's why you did pro wrestling and all this other stuff. And you know, John Cena, you know, he sits there and he says he just doesn't get why Punk is just so upset with him in particular. And at that time, it makes a lot of sense because CM Punk, he was speaking for the people. At the same time, I think that John Cena's point was that there's bigger fish to fry than just me. You want this? Come and get it. And it was a very toxic feud because it blurred the line of reality, which a lot of Punk stuff in 2011 and parts of 2012 did. CM Punk was always someone who I liked even when he started in ECW. And to see him at this height was just amazing for me. But you had his feud with John Cena, which culminated at this match in Chicago. Now, Punk wins the match, but he skips out of town. A couple weeks later on Raw, they had a new tournament to crown a new WWE champion, and the finals were John Cena and Rey Mysterio. I'm sorry, it was Rey Mysterio and I think R-Truth, I want to say. Mysterio wins, and then Cena said, you know what, how about we settle this? You put that timeline against me later tonight. He does. Rey's very one and only reign as WWE champion lasts all one night. John Cena wins, and then as he's celebrating, we hear Cult of Personality. Now, no one in the crowd knew what was going on. They didn't understand why that song was being played. But next thing you know, the camera doesn't show it, but the crowd starts cheering. Next thing you know, it's CM Punk. CM Punk is on the ramp with his WWE title that he walked out with. He gets in the ring, holds up his title, gets a loud ovation. Cena holds up his title. Mixed reaction. Then Punk, then Cena, and they go back and forth. And it was such a great way that they built it up. And at that month's pay-per-view, whatever it is, they had a match. Wasn't nearly as good as their Money in the Bank one, obviously, because the Money in the Bank one, when you talk about the John Cena and CM Punk feud, is really like the only one that sticks out in people's minds. And I remember when this feud even happened, that Money in the Bank match, I begged and pleaded for my mom to get the pay-per-view because the network wasn't really a thing yet. It was a thing in 2014, so pay-per-views you still had to buy. And I begged and pleaded because at this point, we didn't really get a lot of pay-per-views. And she actually caved in like 30 seconds before the show. And I'm like, Mom, hit the button to order it. And so she finally did, and it was definitely one of those pay-per-views I don't think I will ever forget because of just how amazing the show was overall. But you knew that the only match on that whole card people cared about was Punk and Cena. Anything that happened before it, okay, cool. But that match was the one that stuck out in my mind and pretty much everybody else's mind. All right, well, that will wrap it up for week number 1 of Feud Zero 2. Sweet! And next week, I don't know what we're going to look at. You know, I have a list, but maybe I'll go in a different order. I don't know. So if you like this video, if you agree, thumbs up, comment, all that crap. I'm not even going to bother you with it. You want to hit up the show. The Gmail is prowrestlingpod@gmail.com. Once again, prowrestlingpod@gmail.com. The Twitter page is @ProWPodcast. Once again, @ProWPodcast. We are available on iTunes, Podcast at Spreaker, Amazon Alexa, YouTube, Spotify, and iHeartRadio. Again, really just check out that Twitter page @ProWPodcast. That's sort of like our main hub of everything. You'll get our latest episodes on the pinned tweets. Latest PWP TVs will be on there as well. Interviews that we do. We live tweet Raw, SmackDown, and all the big pay-per-views. So definitely check us out. We have fun doing it. We love the interaction. We just want to keep it going, guys. We really love it. My name is Nick, and I'll see you guys next time.